So they have been saying this for a while, that one day they will be using the alien card. Will that actually happen in our lifetime? Is this just like a baloney, whatever? Was Project Bluebeam even real? We got a conspiracy at our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Like the video if you like it, subscribe if you're brand new, roll it.
77 years of ridicule and strong denial. 77 years of calling everyone crazy. 77 years. That's how long it took for the United States government to come out and acknowledge that UFOs exist, finally.
Holy, 77 years?
On November 14, 2004, in the Pacific Ocean, 100 miles southwest of San Diego, California, the USS Nimitz carrier strike group, which included the nuclear-powered carrier and the missile cruiser USS Princeton, was conducting a series of drills before deployment in the Persian Gulf. Around 2 p.m., an operations officer on the Princeton sent an order to 2 FA-18F Super Hornet fighter jets from the Nimitz. The pilots were already in the air when they were told to stop their drills and go to a new location for a real-world task. Basically, they were doing safe practice drills, and the commanding officer decided to kick it up a notch and make them perform as if they were in battle. Even scarier, the officer asked if they had any real guns with them, to which the pilots replied, no. Now, unbeknown to the pilot...
What if they had? I believe this is to do with the Commander Fravor situation, I'm assuming that, but if not, it would be really interesting. If it is, then, you know, what if they actually had weapons on board and they fired at the UFO?
Pilots in the training, the Princeton's very powerful radar had been picking up strange objects for a few days at that point. The Navy has a name for things it can't explain, called anomalous aerial vehicles, or AAVs, which is just another name for UFOs. The military liked this term better than unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, because UFOs were linked to...
They also changed it to UAP, right? Unidentified aerial phenomena. The reason being because, yeah, they don't want the public to really know, but now everybody knows, though. I guess when I say everybody, I mean like people that are following the topic knows, but of course there are a lot of normies that don't even know what's up. A lot of the normies don't even know what's going on.
Flying ships, little green men, and frankly, a lot of crazy people. Their words, not mine. Kevin Day, who was in charge of Princeton's radar at the time, said that over 100 AAVs showed up on his screen during that week. When he was being interviewed by the History Channel, he described the AAVs on his screen as watching snow fall from the sky. Day said that the AAVs showed up more than 80,000 feet in the air, which is much higher than what civilian or military planes normally fly. At first, the Princeton radar team didn't believe what they were seeing and thought that the strange things they were seeing were probably a malfunction or bug with their system. But once they were sure everything was working right, and more importantly, started seeing cases where the AAVs dropped incredibly quickly to lower, busier airspace, they knew it was. Definitely something worth checking out.
You know, imagine, right? Like 1,000 years from now, 2,000 years from now, of course, you and I are not going to be here, but people that are around, if the planet is still ongoing, if nothing bad happens, and they have disclosed the information that, yeah, the aliens are real and whatnot, and what if we meet with them, right? And what if, like 1,000, 2,000 years from now, everybody can have like their own like little ass spaceship that they can be in and just travel around the universe, right? That would be crazy, man. Just like how, you know, in Guardian of the Galaxy, essentially, right? If you have watched that movie.
In the military world, an unidentified thing or being is a threat because it could be an enemy trying to gather intelligence or worse, cause disruption or destruction. To ascertain what these AAVs, or UFOs, were, 2 fighter jets were sent in a different direction to meet one of the strange objects. The pilots were Commander David Fravor and Alex Dietrich. When they first got to the scene, the pilots didn't see anything, but they did observe what the lead pilot, Commander David Fravor, later referred to as a disturbance in the ocean. According to him, it looked like there was a large object just below the surface of the water that was being hit by white waves. After a while, they noticed one of the objects flying about 50 feet above the water. Fravor, the commander of the elite Black Aces squadron, who was a Top Gun program graduate with more than 16 years of flying experience.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Describe
And he revealed all this information when exactly? 2016? Somewhere around that time, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. And another conspiracy here is that, like, these suckers, these alien bozos out there, these alien bastards out there are kidnapping stuff too, right? When I say kidnapping, I mean, like, cattle mutilation is linked with them, right? And they are also around a lot, around the ocean as well. So and there's a conspiracy that they also take in water as well. I don't know.
Program graduate with more than 16 years of flying experience described the object as about 40 feet long, shaped like a Tic Tac candy, and with no obvious means of propulsion. You know what? I am just going to stop here and let him describe what he saw for you.
As we proceeded to the west, the air controller was counting down the range to an object that we were going to, and we were unaware of what we were going to see when we arrived. The controller told us that these objects had been observed for over 2 weeks, coming down from over 80,000 feet, rapidly descending to 20,000 feet, hanging out for hours, and then going straight back up. For those who don't realize, above 80,000 feet is space. We arrived at the location at approximately 20,000 feet, and the controller called merge plot, which means that our radar blip was now in the same resolution cell as the contact. As we looked around, we noticed that we saw some whitewater off our right side. It's important to note that the weather on this day was as close to perfect as you could ask for off the coast of San Diego. Clear skies, light winds, calm seas, no whitecaps from waves. So the whitewater stood out in a large blue ocean. Mm-hmm. All four of us, because we were in F-18Fs, so we had pilots and Wizzo in the back seat, looked down and saw a white Tic Tac object with a longitudinal axis pointing north-south.
I thought he said Lizzo. We had Lizzo in the back. Lizzo in the back. Those of you who know, you know, right? But okay, let's continue.
And moving very abruptly over the water like a ping pong ball. There were no rotors, no rotor wash, or any sign of visible control surfaces like wings. As we started clockwise towards the object, my Wizzo and I decided to go down and take a closer look with the other aircraft staying in high cover to observe both us and the Tic Tac. We proceeded around the circle about 90 degrees from the start of our descent, and the object suddenly shifted its longitudinal axis, aligned it with my aircraft, and began to climb. We continued down another 270 degrees, nose low, where the Tic Tac, or we considered 270 degrees to where, and we went nose low to where the Tic Tac would have been. Our altitude at this point was about 15,000 feet, and the Tic Tac was about 12,000. As we pulled nose onto the object, within about a half mile of it, it rapidly accelerated in front of us and disappeared. Our wingmen, roughly 8,000 feet above us, lost contact also. We immediately turned back to see where the whitewater was at, and it was gone also. Damn. So as we started to turn back towards the east, the controller came up and said, "Sir, you're not going to believe this, but that thing is at your cap point, roughly 60 miles away in less than a minute. You can calculate the speed." We returned to Nimitz. We were taking off our gear. We were talking to one of my...
And apparently what they don't know, they think it made it there within 60 seconds, but they also say it could be less than 60 seconds because the radar scan happens every 60 seconds, is what he said during Joe Rogan podcast, right? So it could have happened between 0 to 60 seconds, right? Anytime between, maybe it went there in 59 seconds, or maybe it went there in 1 second, or maybe 10 seconds or 20. You get the idea, right? Because on the radar, it was showing up near Commander Fravor, where they were seeing it first, and then once they saw it disappear, a minute later when the scan happened and finished, they were like, hey, it's there already where you guys were supposed to be. So it knew where these people, where Commander Fravor should have been in the future, essentially. Oh, shit. It's insane. It's insane, right? It's insane. That's what's being reported right now. So imagine, like, you need to go to, let's just say, New York, right? And you're in San Diego. I know this is gonna be New York, San Diego, what am I even saying? For the sake of it, right? And in San Diego, you see that UFO, but you know that you wanna, like, go to New York. 60 seconds later, it's in New York, and they tell you, hey, bro, like, you needed to be in New York. Well, guess what? They're in New York. So I'm just trying to give it an example with the city names, but it's crazy, man. It's crazy. How did these UFOs or aliens or UFOs, whatever you want to call it, knew that this is where they needed to be at the end of their training exercise, I guess?
Cruiser was getting ready to launch. We mentioned it to them, and they went out and luckily got the video that you see, that 90-second video. What you don't see is the radar tape that was never released, and we don't know where it's at, of the active jamming that the object put on an APG-73 radar, and I can get into modes later if you're interested.
Oh, this was the famous video he was referring to.
The whole fleet of them, look on the ASA. going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot.
By another heavy debates A-18 pilot, Lieutenant Chad Underwood. Unlike some videos where there are heavy debates about whether it's real or doctored, this time the US Navy came out to confirm that the videos were authentic. And what makes this case so intriguing is that every witness in this case are all highly trained military personnel, including several very experienced radar operators and fighter pilots.
Yeah, in other words, it's not like a Timmy no Toms. It's not any Bob or anything like that. No pun intended. But not even talking about Bob Lazar. Yeah, but like these people are these people have military credentials. So it doesn't get any better than this. I mean, who do you trust in this one then, right? If these people are lying, I guess some people would be like, government plan, bro, government plan, could be government plan, psyops, brother, psyops. Maybe. You never know. But if these reports are real, they are baffling. They're baffling.
This is not a random individual who is coming out to share their story. These are from people who spent 2 decades of their lives on facts and data, because that's what will literally save their lives in battle. Till now, they still tell people in their interviews that they don't believe in UFOs. Some take it further by saying things like, I don't know what I saw. I basically saw it, but don't know what it is. That is up to you, the experts, to figure out what it is. So,
okay, so he's calling us the experts. Oh, wow.
These were not statements from people willing to risk 2 to 3 decades of their career for fame. Most of them only came forward a decade later to testify when the news leaked. And some even shared their story anonymously. In such, at the time of the sightings, these people were likely operating what is probably the most advanced flight technology ever made at that time. Still, no one can explain what they saw, or how it moved, that it defied the very laws of physics. Naturally, there are laws that are hard-coded into our planet. Take, for example, Newton's first law of motion, which states an object at rest remains at rest, and an object in motion continues to move at a constant velocity, unless acted upon by an external force. So imagine, if you put your car in park, and then out of the blue, your car's gear enters drive or reverse. That means something weird definitely happened. And that was exactly what the tic-tac-toe was doing. Because planes have to follow the rules of physics, whether they are manned or not. They have to have some sort of source for liftoff and propulsion, which makes the plane or aircraft move forward. But all that was missing in the tic-tac. That's like buying a car without an engine, and yet it still works. To top it off, it dropped from about 50,000 feet to about 100 feet in a matter of seconds, which is practical.
I wonder how much they would weigh, right? Like these UFOs, would there even be a weight associated with it? Because you also heard this gravitational force, or they also have the anti-gravity technology. This is something that you hear. I'm of course not a scientist. If any scientist watching, if anybody with experience or knowledge on this talking, let us know in the comments. But if you, for example, let's just say you have anti-gravity technology, you would defy the laws of physics, sure, but does that also mean that your object doesn't have any weight? Or maybe, this is what I'm assuming, right? If you have anti-gravity technology, it just cancels out all the laws of physics, even if you have, even if your object weighs 1,000 kilograms or 1,000 tons or whatever, right? That's what I'm assuming. If you have the anti-gravity technology, I believe that these UFOs will still have weight associated to them, but perhaps they have the anti-gravity technology, so it does not matter what weight it is. That's what I'm assuming, without any knowledge on how that crap works.
Practically impossible. And that's from another pilot's point of view. For David, it was from 80,000 feet. Footage of what Dietrich and Fravor witnessed that day, now popularly known as the Tic Tac Incident, was included in a report to Congress, along with 2 other declassified videos taken by US Navy fighter jets in 2015 in similar encounters, with what the government calls unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAP,
there we go.
Which again is another name for UFOs. It seems the government will do anything to make sure they are not caught saying the three-letter word UFO. Only people in the military and hardcore UFO fanatics knew about the Nimitz incident. It wasn't until...
I feel like that, yeah, the normies just don't know, and I think this is why they changed the name from UFO to UAP or AAV or whatever, these terms, because, you know, whenever we have these reportings officially, right, like we got these official classified documents that there would be terms on it that you look at it and you're gonna be like, yeah, well, what is that? And when you don't know, you don't care for it, right? For example, some big happened with like a UFO. The UFO crash happened, some this and that, but they don't mention UFO crash. They mention like AAV crash all of a sudden. And if you don't know what AAV is, then you're like, whatever, right? Whatever. Maybe it's like maybe like it's a truck or something, maybe military truck or that they crash and that's it. You don't care about it. But if they did mention UFO crash, you're gonna be like, holy crap, what is going on, right? Then it would be all over the news and the normies would know about it, because the normies are familiar with the term UFO, but they're not necessarily familiar with all these different terms. I believe this is why they do it. So they keep it hush hush, right? And they can still, I guess, work in secret. But when you're putting out these documents, I guess it's not super secret, but still they want to keep it a little secret regardless, I guess, right? And of course, there are probably other thousands of other incidents that have gone without any reports whatsoever. Those are the real ones that are secret, you know? Secretive.
2017 that it got a lot of attention when the New York Times wrote a story about it and shared the video of the encounter. This led to an outbreak where numerous media and individuals were conducting several investigations to find out more information. The pilots involved became overnight celebrities of some sort, with everyone wanting to interview them. The more people investigated the story, the more we kept finding out things that left not just America, but the whole world stunned.
Baffled? Not baffled?
People have been interested in UFOs since 1947, when Ken Arnold, a private pilot and reputable businessman, said he saw 9 disc-shaped objects moving at an estimated speed of over 1,000 miles per hour. He saw these planes while looking for a crashed plane near Mount Rainier National Park in Washington.
Holy.
After Arnold's report, people started coming out in their numbers, talking about unexplainable sightings they saw. This included citizens, military pilots, and air traffic managers all over the United States. In the same year the famous incident, Roswell happened, and the US military officials said that the debris found near Roswell, New Mexico was from a weather balloon that had crashed.
There we go.
However, theories of an alien ship that had gone down and the bodies of aliens that had been recovered have lingered on. Because of these
because in the very beginning they did say it was a UFO crash, then they said it was a balloon, and then you got conspiracies and people, eyewitness reports, whether you want to believe them or not, but then there were people that did claim that, and whistleblowers after the fact too, that they did recover alien bodies. One of them died and another one lived on for another 5 years or so. It's something I heard as well from these conspiracies. Whether it's true or not, that's up for debate, but
kinds of events happening during the height of the Cold War, a CIA advisory group decided that UFO reports could be a threat to national security. Air Force General Nathan Twining, who was in charge of the Air Technical Service Command, started Project Sign, originally called Project Saucer, in 1948 to gather, organize, evaluate, and share all government information about UFO sightings. He did this because he thought they might be real and a threat to national security. While
I believe right in the beginning, for example, right, the first time we actually discovered all of this, or first time it went a little bit mainstream behind the scenes, because now it's mainstream but in the public sphere. But I guess 1947, around these years, it was I guess it was becoming like more known, let's just say this would be the better term to describe it, more known behind the scenes. And when I say behind the scenes, I mean people in the military would find out, these generals, the presidents and all, you know, the world leaders would find out. And I guess in the beginning, perhaps they really thought it could be a national security, perhaps, right? And maybe even to this day, I think even to this day they do believe it can be national security, and you never know, right? Maybe it is. But there's also this argument that if this is really national security, of course I don't buy into the national security, they're probably like hiding something else, but I'm just trying to say because there's also this argument too. This is specifically coming from Dr. Stephen Greer. If they wanted to destroy us, they would have done it like already years, thousands of years ago, millions of years ago. Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. But here's the thing, though: we're thinking that with our human minds. These things are not human, right? So they would have, I'm assuming, I'm guessing that they would think a little bit differently, or maybe a lot differently than us. Maybe this is like one of those chess moves, right? That, hey, we gotta spy on them, we gotta get what we want, and then later on we destroy them. You never know. What if there are, yeah, this is what we heard too, that there are different races of these beings. Some of them are hostile, some of them are not hostile. So it's just one of those things, right? Maybe they are really looking to destroy us, and maybe all of this national security thing is real. I don't believe it, but it's one of those arguments that I mean, I think in the very beginning, at least, they really took that seriously, that hey, this could be national security, because yeah, they're showing up in numbers, and they're disabling our nukes, right? Holy crap, right? They're crashing here. Oh shit, the beings are real. Oh shit, like what's going on, right? Like, oh shit, they got anti-gravity technology. What is going on? We don't have that. We don't have any of this technology, and if they ever come to battle us, and they ever, like, let's just say, start a world war with us, or planetary war with us, we're cooked. We're doomed. We don't know how to fight back. So this is why they were like, okay, we need to reverse engineer it. We need to make bigger and better nukes. Bigger. Go crazy. USA drops a nuke on Nagasaki, Hiroshima, and guess what? Russia is like, we gotta make our own. They drop a SAR bomb, mother of all bombs, Moab, right? The SAR bomb, right? Then the US is like, okay, we gotta make something even better than that. And then Russia is advancing, and then China comes in, and it's like, holy crap, like, we're just competing, right? And it never ends.
Publicly dismissive of UFOs, the Air Force investigated and cataloged more than 12,000 sightings under its Project Blue Book program, categorizing 701 cases as unidentified before the project ended in 1969. So it turns out that while they were lying to us and calling us crazy, they were actually funding programs and secret operations that monitored every UFO activity in the country, and in some cases, in the world.
You know, they could have went ahead and they could have said that. We just, at the time when they were calling people crazy, you guys are seeing stuff, we're also seeing it, we just don't know what it is. And hey, look, we're doing these studies right now, we are conducting these studies, and we're looking into it, and we'll tell you what's happening once we complete these studies. If they just done that, I feel like that a lot more people would have remained, what's this called, like, people would have trusted a lot more. Right now, mostly nobody trusts in the government, right? And for the right reasons, because they have lied numerous times over, multiple times over. And when you heard stories like Operation, I believe, Northwood or something, like, correct me if I'm wrong, an operation where they wanted to kill their own civilians. So US wanted to attack on, like, US soil themselves and blame it, I believe, on another country. I believe it was called Operation Northwood, and essentially JF Kennedy was, I believe, I could be wrong, right, with the names, especially I might be mixing this with somebody else, but it's a true story, right? The president just called it off. He was like, no, we're not gonna kill our own residents, we're not gonna kill our own people. So hey, good, shout out to him, man. Good, God bless the guy. I mean, he's not here, but I guess God bless him if afterlife exists, right? Hopefully God bless him in the afterlife. Guys, check out this video on the screen. This is the last video that we've done, and we had a massive video. We had a ton of clips in this one. I'm sure you're gonna love this. You're gonna be baffled. We had a ton of these UFO clips and UFO bastards in this one. Check out this video on the screen. If you already seen it, then check out the video on the left.